These headlines are brought to you by Doral Volkswagen, home of the Pricito, our lowest price. Visit us at Doral Volkswagen or at DoralVolkswagen.com. It was a great weekend for Miami Hurricane sports. Canes men's basketball team likely secured a spot in the NCAA tournament with a come-from-behind 77-76 win on Saturday on the road at NC State. Miami finished the game with an 8-hole run over the final 52 seconds, including 3 clutch free throws from True Washington. Canes baseball, meanwhile, completed an opening weekend sweep over Lehigh, taking the finale 27-3 on Sunday. In that game, they set a program record for most runs in a single inning, with 15 scored in the 5th. NBA All-Star Weekend is now in the rear view. Miami Heat's Keyshawn Johnson won the dunk contest on Saturday night. The Heat will return to action this Friday on the road in Atlanta. And the Olympics continue from Milan and Cortina. Team USA sitting third in the overall medal count with 17 behind Norway and Italy. The Joe Rose Show is coming your way next here on FM 104.3 WQAM.
Henderson looking. No timeouts. Lobs it for Renew. He's doubled. Over to Dawson. Outside Washington for 3. It's deflected. He's fouled. He is fouled behind the three-point line on the left side of the floor. True Washington now goes to the free throw line with a chance to win the game or give Miami the lead. Now a chance for the lead. We're tied at 76. 3.7 seconds to go. His eyes travel up to the rim. Beads the sweat in his forehead. Free throws away and good. And a timeout, NC State. And Miami has the lead. 77-76.
Welcome into the Joe Rose Show. Alex Dono in for Joe. Omar, I guess, also in for Joe. And Trevor is in for Hollywood and Jamie and a little bit of Joe as well. Thank you all so much for being here with us on, what is today? President's Day, Omar? Is that the holiday we're at now?
Yes. I don't really understand what President's Day is. Are we getting a holiday to celebrate all of the presidents?
I think it's George Washington's birthday, and they just lumped all the other presidents in. It's like, we'll just give it to all of them.
Okay. All right. Does it always fall on Monday, or is this one of those holidays that always rotates, what year?
Yeah, I think it always falls on a Monday. I mean, so George Washington's birthday is obviously not always on a Monday. I guess they do it like the nearest Monday to Washington's birthday, and Joe gets to sleep in. Is how that works every year at this time. We heard the highlight coming in of Miami's come from behind big basketball win at NC State. So Omar, that was going on Valentine's Day. It was around 6-ish p.m. when that game went final, and during that comeback, I was literally that guy, like from the old commercials where I'm out with my wife. We're like sipping our drinks for like an early Valentine's dinner, and I'm like checking the score under the table, hoping she won't notice because I was so into it right before we left the house to go out to dinner. I'm watching this close game. If Miami wins, they're basically a lock for the NCAA tournament. And, I don't think she noticed that I was checking the score. And then thank God, right when the game was about to end, she went up and went to the bathroom. And so I was able to pull up the video feed for like 3 minutes.
And I'm curious, at this stage in your marriage, at this stage in your life, how old's your little one?
He's going to be 8 in about a week.
Okay. You don't think she knows you by now? You don't think that
she knows me too well, and I still don't know her at all.
Yeah. You don't think she knows? Let me take a bathroom break because I know he wants to watch this game. He wants to check out this game on his phone. He keeps looking at it. Like, let me relieve him and let him see the end of it.
It was an act of charity is what it was.
Yeah.
And Miami got it done on the charity stripe with True Washington getting 3 decisive field goal free throws, I should say, at the end of the game. That was the basketball that I was more into, Omar, during the weekend. How much of NBA All-Star Weekend did you watch? Because it gets, for me, less and less every single year. Like, I don't know how they do it, but the NBA finds a way to make All-Star Weekend worse every single year. I did watch the clips of Keyshawn Johnson of the Miami Heat winning the dunk contest, And I watched some of the other, like the guy from the Orlando Magic, like concussed himself by like running into the side of the backboard. Like it
Yeah.
was one of the worst dunk contests ever. And then the dunk where Johnson like won the contest, it was a very pedestrian dunk. And the dance that he did after the dunk was better than the actual dunk. It's like, man, I'm glad I didn't waste more than, I don't know, probably a combined 90 seconds watching highlights of that.
It was a very pretty dunk, though. Listen, I didn't watch 1 second of any All-Star game live. It's like the MLB All-Star game or the Pro Bowl or the NHL All-Star game. It's my time to take a break from sport.
Yeah.
Like, no desire.
But some of these used to be really good, though. Like, don't like when we were growing up, Omar.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Like the MLB All-Star game, like I don't, because and a lot of times the games weren't on TV as much. And I remember like before we even had a baseball team down here, and so you were either watching the Braves on TBS or you were watching whatever games were on national TV. Then the MLB All-Star game would come on. That was a big deal. The NBA All-Star game used to be really good. And the Pro Bowl used to be decent, right?
Yeah, back when it was in Hawaii, maybe 2 decades ago.
Yeah.
Then they started substituting it and putting it in Disney, and people were like, I don't know about that. Yeah, even though I just realized now, because I'm plotting and planning a trip to Disney World, my daughter's first. I did not know how damn expensive Disney was.
Oh my God.
I must have that. I'm sure inflation has risen since I've been to Disney since. But how did my parents afford that? I don't know.
I think it was affordable back in the day. Like, so what happened? It got so popular that basically Disney control people and I can say this because we're annual pass holders because, and I'm not going to lie to you and say I'm not into it. I'm into it, but my wife is super into it. But the thing is, like, there are enough people like us that are going to go, like, you could charge more than my mortgage and we would still find a way to go. Like, there are enough people like us where they can keep raising the prices and the parks are still full.
So what's the benefit of being an annual pass holder?
You can go anytime you want. Like, you pay one price for the whole year. And so you can go, you can go as many times as you need, which is a lot.
And what's that price?
Man, it's probably I'm not even 100% sure, but it's probably close to like $1,000 a person or a little less. They have different tiers like of annual passes, so I don't know. It's somewhere between like $800 to $1,000 a person for the year. It's bad.
Man, this thing is sickening. This is crazy. Like, it's a hustle.
Yeah.
I'm
subscribe to Omar Kelly's feed out at MiamiHerald.com, please, so we can get more money. How about that?
That doesn't pay me more money, but listen. When we did research for how, like, and the park hopper and the fast pass and all of these things.
They have like extras they charge you for now. That's the other thing.
Yeah, I mean, you're royalty. You just walk up and say, I'm a card carrying member of the Disneyland family. Man, this thing is a killer. Like, in terms of how much it costs. Wow. That's all I gotta say. Wow.
It's a lot. It's a lot. So how much Olympics have you been watching? I find myself, I've actually been watching a lot, and part of it is because my parents are staying with us for a while, and my father is super into it. It's in his hometown. He's from Milan, but he's like, Olympics are on the TVs in my house all freaking day long. And the crazy thing about it is you find yourself really getting into stuff you had no idea you would be interested in. Like, up before a week and a half ago, I never thought watching people essentially doing shuffleboard on ice would be as interesting as it is. But curling, man, curling gets you into it. And then the cheating Canadians are out there getting caught in a sting operation by the Swedes, and it's like a national controversy. The curling has been super fun. I'm watching these people go head first down the luge on the skeleton event, which I wonder how many people die trying to figure out if they're good at that or not. The downhill skiing, like I'm telling you, Omar, I didn't realize how much I would be into this, but I am all over it, especially the curling.
I like curling. I enjoy it. I like watching the little sweepers.
Yeah.
That's cool. But I like ice skating. That's speed skating, maybe. That's about it. You know. I heard hockey was on yesterday. Didn't watch it because I was at a kite flying festival.
Nice. Is that something your daughter's into or you're into it?
I feel judged right now. No, it was something, just an activity we found in Hollover. It was fun, but yeah, I learned that hockey was playing at that time, and I believe U.S. beat somebody.
Trevor will know. He's the hockey guy. Who did the?
No,
US
I'm gonna have
beat?
Omar guess. I think it's more funnier. That's why.
Oh yeah, you know it's
pick the country. Come on.
Czechoslovakia.
Wrong.
I'm not even sure if that's a country anymore.
Czechoslovakia is split now anyway, so
it's the Czech Republic and Slovakia. They got two
Czech
teams
Republic
now.
And then Slovakia. Okay. You got to keep up with my foreign affairs.
You're gonna be traveling for all these Dolphin games overseas soon. If you got to learn all your countries, my man.
So, Soviet Union.
Russians are not in it anymore. They're banned currently. Yes.
Oh, they are.
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
The Russians are banned. Yeah.
Why are they banned? Doping?
Nasty war.
No.
Oh, the war. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I got you. Should have thought of that.
You can't really bully somebody, even though I'll keep my commentary to myself.
Stick to sports.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're
I
still.
I have no idea. I've made two guesses now.
Germany.
Oh, Germany. Okay.
5-1.
All right. I remember seeing that. Yeah, I actually, and I feel like Trevor probably is not with me on this. I find myself not watching much Olympic hockey because I feel like I can watch hockey anytime during the NHL season. But like, how often am I going to watch curling? Like, it's a once in a 4-year thing for me. So you know, I can watch hockey in a couple weeks. You know, I don't need to watch hockey during the Olympics.
Can't put on curling for you and draw you in on one random Saturday outside of football season. I mean, this is literally the first week without football that we've had since August.
Yeah.
And I feel like everybody should be going through withdrawal right now.
No, I totally am. Yeah. Yeah, I'm totally going through, and it's not going to stop us from talking about the Dolphins and Tua's future today. So just so people know, it won't stop us. But I understand what Omar is saying because, like the little part of my withdrawal started, the morning after the national championship game in college, and Indiana beat Miami. But then I'm like, all right, we still have a little NFL left, so I still have something to take me for the next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And then after the Super Bowl, which was not the best of games, but it did have you had some points scored at the end. So it's like, all right, is this going to tide me over for like 7 months? No, there's no way. So I'm having a tough time, Omar, and I'm trying to see. We're waiting for free agency, and I guess we're waiting for like in college, we're going to have the at some point the recruiting is going to start to heat up again. It's been a little dead for these last couple weeks, but yeah, this is probably the toughest part of the year for a football fan, right? Like the few weeks of hangover after the Super Bowl.
Yeah, you're saying recruiting. What signing period is there now? Is there another transfer window portal?
There's not. But like you have certain times a year when players start to kind of commit. So like when spring football starts, which is obviously another big milestone, like March and April, you have guys taking visits, and some players might verbally commit. And then in the summer, that can get really busy as well. Around like 4th of July weekend, you'll have a lot of the high school players will commit to places. So that's sort of the next milestone because, I mean, Omar, I do Locked On Canes every single day, and obviously there's some other stuff to talk about with the basketball team and the baseball team, but football's my bread and butter, right? Like nothing moves the needle like football. So I'm going over the rosters like every single day because there's not a whole lot else happening. Rosters, assistant coaches leaving every now and then. Speaking of assistant coaches leaving, Are the Dolphins, and I hope they don't, but will the Dolphins ever figure out that Jason Taylor should be on their staff? Like, I hope they never do that. But, I mean, it's every offseason I'm wondering, is this the offseason? And it's never coming. I like Jason Taylor and Coral Gables, so I hope he stays there.
I think Jason has personally gone the route of picking college over the pros.
Really?
Yeah. And also, I think that it makes them uncomfortable to hire legends, knowing that they could potentially have to relieve them of their duties. Remember, Wes Welker and Sam Madison got whacked by Mike McDaniel. Neither was, both were a black eye on his resume, like, because we just assume these guys, we know them, we know what their product is, but we don't necessarily know how they're coaching. We just know they're a big name. If Mike McDaniel fired anybody on his coaching staff, we wouldn't care generally, unless it was something that we demanded. But when he fires Wes Welker and he fires Madison, yeah, it's it's basically like a crime. So that's kind of why you don't add Jason Taylor to your staff.
Hey, that makes sense. Hopefully that philosophy keeps going down there in Davie, or not Davie, in Miami Gardens. I'm still thinking back to the days when they used to have the practices in Davie. I got to wake up this morning still, but you know what's going to wake us up? Some comments from Sully about Tua Tagovailoa's future, and I want to pick Omar Kelly's brain on that as well. You want to keep it right here. It's early. It's President's Day. Thank you guys. For those who are up with us here in the 6 o'clock hour, we love you. We will continue the Joe Rose Show. Alex Dono and Omar Kelly in for Joe on FM 104.3 WQAM.
Anyway, hey, right now I want to talk to you about
Set a timer for 6 minutes.
can't change. Won't you fly free bird,
Welcome back into the Joe Rose Show, Monday morning, President's Day. Alex Dono, Omar Kelly. We got Trevor Harris with us. All right, so the thing being discussed, I know we're not watching football these days, Omar, but it won't stop us from talking football. So I'd like to get your take on these comments from a Thursday night. It was a season ticket holder event. John Eric Sullivan, GM of the Miami Dolphins, was asked questions about Tua Tagovailoa's future with the franchise. 305 Sports Babe actually asked him a question. He said, on looking at quarterbacks, of course, we'll be looking at other quarterbacks in this draft, he said, and every draft hereafter. But look, I've had Tua was in my office the other day, he said, and if I'm being perfectly frank, we had a great conversation. Tua has been a very good player in this league. He's done a lot of really good things for the Miami Dolphins. You guys should be proud to have him. And having him, he continued, Sully, I don't know what the future holds right now, and I told Tua that. We're working through some things. What I can tell you is that we're going to infuse competition into that room, whether Tua is part of the room, whether he's not part of the room. We're going to infuse competition into that room like we will do in every other position. Tua knows where we are. We've been very honest and upfront, and Tua also knows that he will be the first to know when we make a decision. So if Tua is the first to know, you guys can't be the first to know, and I know that you respect and appreciate that. So obviously, Sully is not, doesn't feel like he's being forced to keep Tua, although, Omar, the financials make it very difficult not to keep him, right? So how do we navigate that?
Very carefully. While one, this is important because it's probably the first time anybody in the organization has admitted that Tua is not necessarily going to be part of this team's future. And if you think about past regimes or past coaches, they had to praise whatever quarterback that was there in-house, whether it be Chad Henne or Ryan Tannehill, now Tua Tagovailoa. They had to sing their praises unless it was clearly a stopgap player. Nobody had to sing. I'm trying to say Mike. Who's it?
Mike White.
Nobody had to sing Mike White's praises or Skylar Thompson's praises or Mike McDaniel had to sing Tua Tagovailoa's praises. You were selling that hope, that dream. The problem with Tua is you can't sell that anymore. The stock is gone bad. It's time to cut your losses. To me, there are 5 ways you can go about handling this decision.
Ooh, I like that.
The first is you could try to trade him and cover some of the salary, probably sweeten the deal by giving up a draft pick for somebody to take on Tua and Tua's contract. Trade is going to be financially challenging because you're still going to have to take a cap hit. But Tua's contract, the rest of it, not your problem. Then you can go the route of actually keeping him on the roster, placing him on IR for the season, which would prohibit him from competing for the starting spot. I know we talk a great deal about, oh, man, we just need quarterback competition. We need this, we need that. And I've heard all these lies for years and years and years. It's just not. It's just not feasible for them to go that route of having him on the roster when you're going to go out there and bid on a Malik Willis or some kind of upgrade. And if it's going to be Malik Willis is probably going to come here with the guarantee and the understanding that he's going to be an NFL starter here.
Yeah.
Now that's a whole nother conversation about whether you like Malik Willis or not, whether you're comfortable with what you've seen in a very, 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 very small sample size, and what he projects as. I did a study last week for a column that I did, looking at every single one of those situations of backups getting the come up, and all of them failed. So that's an eye-opening situation for me. I looked at every piece, every throw that he made, every play he made on the field in 2025. Definitely a conversation we'll have later. But right now we're talking about what to do with Tua. Now, you could have him here and compete. That's one of the three things that are factors. I am of the opinion that Tua is still no slouch. Tua's second all-time leading passer in accuracy in the NFL history, behind only Joe Burrow, right ahead of Drew Brees. He's not a slouch. In my opinion, what happened to him last year was he lost velocity on his arm. It's like a fastball who loses it's like a pitcher who loses his fastball.
I guess my question on that would be, was that like a temporary in-season thing and he gets it back after the offseason, or is that just who he is now?
I don't have the answer to that, especially
I wish I did.
Especially since very few people have acknowledged it or said it happened.
But there was clearly, anybody who watched the Dolphins 17 times last year knows something happened physically with Tua. And even, Omar, even when Tua was physically at his best in previous years, I was still never completely sold because of his inconsistencies and his injuries. And then he loses his arm, and I'm like, okay, well, now what am I supposed to do with this?
It was just good enough, and then it went bad. To the point where, I talked to opposing defensive coaches that were playing Miami, and one of them basically said after the game, I told he can't throw outs. No. So you never have to worry about the outside routes unless he floats it. And he can't throw deep anymore. So we never have to pass 40 yards downfield. Safeties never have to move. And we're playing zone because we want to play everything in front of us. That creates some tight windows for Tua to operate. And I think he has been effectively operating in them in the past, but when you lose that velocity, it makes it very troublesome. And then I think he started to lose confidence in those throws and he started to second guess himself. So it's just all steamrolled downhill on him. Could the arm regenerate and get back to throwing a fastball? Absolutely. The question I would have is, would it die again in next December?
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
And if so, what are we doing? So
yeah,
I think we a lot of things. I will say Tua is probably the greatest lesson that I've had covering the NFL, because I'm a big Tua fan. I was a big believer. I was a major advocate for tank for Tua. And the first thing I learned is tanking is not a wise approach. It's, I'm sure all of the NBA would disagree with me right now.
Well, except the commissioner. The commissioner is trying to end tanking, but every team in the NBA would disagree with you.
Yeah, but tanking,
by the way.
Huh?
Glad you admit tanking does not ever work anyways. So we appreciate it.
I don't know if it doesn't ever work. I mean, I think Dallas and Cooper Flag are pretty happy, even though they got lucky.
They got lucky, yes. Lucky.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, but the NBA is like, that's a lottery with football. I think the Raiders feel pretty lucky right now. Yeah. I think they feel.
Well, I think Omar, maybe if the Dolphins had proper, although the guy they would have drafted has had injury issues, but the problem was the Dolphins didn't tank hard enough, which we all know with Brian Flores, because they drafted Tua at 5. Had they had the number 1 pick, they would have drafted Joe Burrow. They would have been better off. Now Burrow has his injury troubles, but still he's had a more impactful career than Tua. So if they had tanked properly, they would be better off than they are right now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure they wouldn't be in the exact same spot, but they would probably be better off. You're correct. And then the 4th and the 5th route to getting rid of Tua is releasing him. You could release him as a traditional release and take all of $99.2 million in a cap hit this year. And I believe that's going to put you negative $42 million in the red. And that, or you could release him as a June 1st release, which is, you could split up the two cap hits. either way you go, it's going to be painful. I think
Yeah.
the least painful route is to keep him on the roster and allow him to compete, but that might turn off an opposing quarterback. That could possibly, unless you're trading for one. If you're trading for Kyler Murray, it is what it is. Now the Dolphins have let it publicly be known that, hey, anybody interested in Tua, we are willing to make a trade. Please come on down.
Crickets.
Yeah, crickets. Come on down because it's $54 million, and we're willing to pay a good, large, substantial portion of his contract.
The market is the market.
Yeah, the market is the market, as Tua said, and I think that's a lesson that we learned from as well.
Yeah, and you brought up, the possibility, which would be the most financially sound, I guess, like you said, would be, keeping him on the roster, bringing in someone if you can to compete with him.
You keep him on the roster for one season. And this is why I tell people that it's most financially beneficial. You keep him on the roster for one season. You're already paying the salary. You're already paying the freight of it. He's an adequate quarterback. At least he could be a number 2. And if he beats out a guy like Malik Willis, what can you say? What
right?
Other than my bad, I screwed up. And that's the thing too. It's not like he's a slouch.
No, he's not. That's why I'd be afraid that he would just beat out Malik Willis, but then I guess the better quarterback should play, but then it makes it more awkward for the next time you need to get rid of him. So
yeah, we want to be these hypocrites and say, oh, we need quarterback competition at every position. Quarterback competition. And the truth of the matter is, we don't want to around because we know he's going to beat the person that he's competing with.
Yeah.
So we're all bums. But if you keep him on the roster and allow him to compete, and honestly, don't kill me in the chat because I'm not advocating for this. I know where it's going to lead to, and it's going to lead to heartbreak. So trust me, I want you to be done with the toxic ex. I want you to move on. I want you to cleanse. I want you to say to yourself, block his number. I want you to comfortably move on and not dip and dap and go back and remember the good times or one night stands. Just clean, cold cut. But if you did keep him, you can release him next year and you get $40 million worth of cap space.
Yeah, that might be worth it, keeping him around. Yeah, honestly.
I mean,
it's tough because it feels especially awkward given you've got an entirely new coaching staff and a new front office, but it's like he's still here. I really wish that this new regime could just completely start fresh at quarterback, but I understand why they might not, because why do you shoot yourselves in the foot when you could save so much cap money by doing it next year?
Here's the thing, and yes, they want to trade to him. The problem is there's a bazillion quarterbacks that are going to be on this quarterback market when the NFL Combine begins, and honestly, quarterbacks are their own business. Like the quarterback circuit is going to be handled and settled and decided way before everything else. So where's Geno Smith playing? Where's Kyler Murray playing? What's going to happen with Daniel Jones? What's going to happen with Aaron Rodgers? What's going to happen with Will Levis? What's going to happen with Anthony Richardson? What's going to happen with where's Malik Willis going to end up? What's going to happen with Deshaun Watson? I think, did I forget any quarterbacks? What's going to happen with Kirk Cousins? So all of those things, Daniel Jones, what's Kansas City going to do while Patrick Mahomes rehabs? What's going to happen with Justin Fields? What's Minnesota going to do? Is Baker Mayfield going to get an extension in Tampa, or is he going to force his way out of there? These are all things that we're going to learn at the NFL Combine. They're got to be decided. Quarterbacks like musical chairs. When the music stops, everybody's got to get a seat. Unless you're Tua and nobody wants you to sit. Except for they don't want you to play. They just want you to stay where you are. I'm curious as hell to see if they can. I would tell you without a doubt, no question, if they want to trade Tua last year, they would have found a market for him. But at this point, nah,
No.
not gonna happen.
The answer is definitely nah. Well, coming up next, I want to talk about tanking. So the NBA commissioner brought up an idea, a threat on how to end tanking in the NBA, and I think this threat is fundamentally un-American. We'll explain when we come back. Joe Rose Show, FM 104.3 WQAM.
Anyway, right now I want to tell you about your
Welcome back into the Joe Rose Show. Dono in for Joe. We got Omar Kelly in with us. We got Trevor Harris running things in the studio. All right, so Omar, you brought up tanking, which it's more difficult to tank in the NFL. In the NBA, it's very easy to tank. In fact, multiple teams are doing that, including the Utah Jazz just got fined $500,000 for tanking in a game against the Miami Heat where they still beat the Heat, as embarrassing as that was for Miami. But they were fined for tanking. Adam Silver, the NBA commissioner, seems to be reaching a boiling point with this. And he came out and said they are considering and exploring all options to try to end tanking in the NBA, including, which this idea, I wouldn't hate it, to be honest, but I think it's fundamentally un-American with the way that American sports leagues are run. The idea or the threat that they could just take away the draft completely and rookies are just free agents, right? Which means if you're a crappy team in a crappy market, you're not guaranteed to be able to draft the best guy. Better markets like Miami, New York, LA, etc., would be able to sign these guys as free agents. Again, I don't see the NBA actually doing this, but that is now the threat that they are using to try to stop tanking. Oh, I think you're muted.
They would never do that because it would create a free agent system that would be going to the highest bidder. It would raise prices. Yeah. That's the worst nightmare for leagues. How's anybody ever going to go to Milwaukee?
Right. Yeah. No one will ever go to Sacramento again.
Bummer.
I mean, those franchises actually need to be sustainable. Those franchises.
Yeah.
You can't live that way. I'm a big fan of the lottery, and I heard something about a tournament, tournament that would basically determine who gets, who gets the order of the picks. And to be honest with you, I thought it was genius.
That's not a bad idea.
Yeah, I thought it was genius. Prevent everybody from, prevent everybody, make you earn your lottery balls. How many lottery balls is based on something competitively?
Yeah.
How many? It's based on how many road wins that you get, or something like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's not the stinkiest that gets it. Make it if you're not in the playoff mix, make tanking based on how well you played on the road. Determines how many lottery picks you get.
That's not a bad idea, because I think that in terms of actually accomplishing what you describe in terms of keeping the parity, you do need to still have the different amount of ping pong balls for different teams. Because I was listening to the overnight show before we got started on Westwood One, and one of their hosts had an idea that I actually thought was interesting, that all of the teams that miss the playoffs, so all the lottery teams, they each just have one ping pong ball, right? That if you came in 17th place, you have the same number of ping pong balls as the team that came in 30th, right? Which
Absolutely.
is, to me, that's it's not a bad idea, but again, you're not necessarily then rewarding the team that's actually the worst, which I think is what Adam Silver wants to accomplish. Now, when you tank, you manipulate where the team that's actually the worst might not be the team with the worst record, but giving just one ping pong ball to all the teams who miss the playoffs, that doesn't accomplish that either, right? You're still, the team that misses the playoffs by a half a game still could end up being in the number one pick. So I don't know, maybe your idea might be the best way to do that, Omar.
I don't know how you fix it. Obviously it's one of the running problems of the NBA. I personally believe the new television networks, where it's nearly impossible to find where a damn NBA game is.
You don't even get me started on that. I get stressed. When there's an NBA game I want to watch, it's where am I going to find it?
Yeah, it's horrible. It's the worst thing ever. it's such a chore to find sports today. You know, I think I'm at the point where I know like the Thursday night game is on Amazon. Like
Yeah.
that's about
Yeah.
all and Dolphins games are on generally on NBC. That's
Yeah.
all I understand.
Yeah.
Oh no. NBC actually has Dolphins games are on CBS.
CBS.
NBC has Sunday night's game.
Correct.
Who has Monday night game? ESPN. I figured it out by
Yeah.
now.
Who has the NFC then? Who has the NFC? Fox.
Fox.
Yeah. Sunday night game, Monday night game, Thursday night game. Okay, I'm out of games. Yeah, okay. So I figured it out. But it's basketball is, man. Like how do you watch your Heat game?
Because you got all those issues with the regional sports networks, the FanDuel. It's like, oh, it's really tough. Well, we got to get to the 7 o'clock hour coming up. Want to talk more Dolphins in the 7 o'clock hour, including the Finns hiring someone who is very well liked in Philadelphia. I understand. I'm sure. I'm sure Trevor Harris could give us the Patullo factor. And 8 o'clock. We're going to talk with Chris Perkins, so I'm looking forward to talking more Finns with Perk. You want to keep it right here. 7 o'clock hour coming up on the Joe Rose Show, 104.3 WQAM.
I want to take a second here, though.
no good, and Miami wins. Miami comes from behind, and Miami wins. They're cavorting in delights. There's a celebration for Miami. The Hurricanes win in dramatic fashion. They come from behind and win it 77-76 on 3 free throws by True Washington. Wow, what an unbelievable game. It has twists, it has turns. The bombshell is a 3-point foul, and True Washington makes three free throws, and Miami wins it on the road at North Carolina State by 1, 77-76.
You heard Joe Zagacki on the call there for what was truly an awesome Miami Hurricanes win on the road at NC State. And, I knew Miami had a shot. NC State was favored by 5.5 points at home. Really good team. Although the last time we'd seen NC State, they got their doors blown off at Louisville. But a really good team regardless. They were back at home. But Malik goes off for 26 points in the game. NC State has this bad habit of letting opposing players score their season highs against them. It's happened a couple times to them this year. But I thought the great punctuation on that win, Omar, was you heard it from Joe Z's call. True Washington, who had been away from the team for 3 games for personal reasons, he comes right back and he hits 3 clutch free throws. He was fouled on a 3 with Miami down 2. That's a pressure cooker moment. He hits all 3 of them to win the game for the Canes. And basically, Omar, Miami's a lock. They're in the 90-plus percentile that they're going to be in the NCAA tournament, which is super impressive because when Jay Lucas, the new coach, got here, going back to April, there were 0 players on his roster. Had to build a complete roster start to finish over the past 7 or 8 months.
And the impressive job that he's done, basically rebuilding that program in 1 season. Obviously, the transfer portal is helping, assisting. NIL deals is helping, assisting. But let's not pretend like this University of Miami basketball program hasn't endured, struggled, survived for the last probably since the 90s, since Leonard Hamilton. I actually fell in love with UM basketball before I actually fell in love with UM football because
really?
Oh yeah. The what happened was the Hurricanes used to come on right after cartoons. The Hurricanes hotline show used to come on right after cartoons. It wasn't like a mediocre cartoon. It was right after X-Men or something.
Oh man, yeah, that was a banger.
You were locked in.
Yeah,
and that was during the era where there wasn't cable. There wasn't Nickelodeon and you couldn't. Saturday was the day you got cartoons. Outside of when I got home after school, I had to do my homework. By the time I was done with my homework, for a responsible parent, Charles in Charge was on, and I'd be like, damn, I missed the cartoon window. So Saturday was my day, man. Wake up, have my cereal, sit there and binge watch cartoons from 8 in the morning to noon. Right when X-Men went off, there was Hurricane Hotline, and I just kept watching. And saw Leonard Hamilton, and they used to give out tickets free at McDonald's, and I'd actually go to games.
The old Miami Arena.
So I developed a fanhood for the University of Miami basketball before I even became a fan of the University of Miami football team.
I love that. And so the basketball team, they're really good. They're probably going to have a double bye in the ACC tournament. The baseball team, not to say that, playing against Lehigh is the best barometer, but the baseball team on paper looks really good, regardless of who they just beat this weekend. They scored 55 runs over the 3 games, which was insane. And then, of course, the football team is really good right now. So we're entering an era, Omar. It kind of reminds me of when you used to be a Hurricanes beat writer back in the day. I don't know if the basketball team probably wasn't good then, but the football team and the baseball team were really good when you used to be a beat writer.
Actually, they had one good basketball season. I think when they won
A
the
Sweet
championship.
16, right?
Yeah. No, they weren't Sweet 16. They made it to the fine. They had a couple of good basketball seasons here and there. Leonard Hamilton did have Sweet 16 success. Perry, I can't remember.
Perry Clark.
Clark. There you go.
Yeah.
He had a tournament run after him. Frank Haith had some tournament runs. I covered it all. I actually did cover
I don't remember.
it all.
What year did you leave the Hurricanes beat for the Dolphins beat?
When Randy Shannon took over, 2017.
Oh, okay. All right.
It was determined me and Randy couldn't exist in the same room. No.
I was about to say, follow-up question. Hold on.
Why?
We didn't like each other.
Facetious. Really?
No. Yeah, we didn't like each other.
Oh, I thought you were joking about that. Really?
Yeah, not really. Love the fact that he got the job, but then he was going to be a scrotum, and it was time for me to move on. Anyway, I'd done it for 7 years.
Well, and so you're on the Dolphins beat. We'll revisit the Hurricanes later, but staying on the Dolphins for a minute. What did you? I think you and Trevor may have different opinions on this hire, but the Dolphins have added former Eagles offensive coordinator Kevin Patullo as their passing game coordinator. Now, that passing game coordinator role, I understand he's had success at different spots. As an OC, he will not be the OC at Miami, but as an OC, not so much. I remember this viral video of this kid after an Eagles game saying he wants to see Kevin Patullo flipping burgers at McDonald's after one of the Eagles losses. He's not flipping burgers. He's going to be flipping quarterbacks here in Miami is what Kevin Patullo is going to be doing.
Please thank Crossing Broad for that with Kyle Piggott on the mic doing the man on the street thing. That's all I asked for. Please
that was a great man in the street. I found some 10-year-old kid. He's like, I want this Kevin Patullo flipping burgers at McDonald's. This 10-year-old kid was saying.
I honestly don't have an opinion on any of the staff hires, and here's why I don't. In 3 years, when you fail to get it done, I'll be calling for everybody to be fired, and I would hope that in those 3 years you built whatever staff you envisioned and had no restrictions, no limitations, and gave that staff a tremendous opportunity to develop and coach and get this thing headed in the right direction. I like Mike McDaniel. When he got here, he couldn't change his defensive coordinator. He couldn't change his special teams coach. He was only allowed to change his offensive coaches. And I didn't think that was fair. If you hire somebody, you don't put restrictions on them. You don't put guardrails up. You just let them build however they want to build and create the infrastructure they want to create. That wasn't what Mike came into. And I didn't feel like that was fair. I'm glad they let Jeff Hafley hire, replace whoever they like, because in 3 years, whether you do it or you don't, time to go. And I want you to have the best staff that you possibly have, so there are no excuses. And so if you feel like this is who you want, if you feel like Bobby Slowick is who you want to hire as your offensive coordinator, even though you know he was a pass game coordinator here, where the pass game absolutely was the worst thing on the team. He wasn't the play caller, Mike McDaniel was the play caller, but somebody's responsible for creating a passing game. The run game was pretty good. Maybe you should hire the run game coordinator. Pass game guy,
maybe, right?
Pass game guy, not so much. Well, now he's your offensive coordinator. You get a leftover Eagles fired offensive coordinator. Now your pass game coordinator. You get a college quarterback coach who has some NFL experience, but who is he really developed? Hey, man, it is what it is. Make the best of the situation. They had to have sold the staff to Steve Ross and the selection committee. So if that's the staff that they bought into, okay, let's see if it works.
I mean, to me, none of it is inspiring, like the coaching staff, Omar, and
Yeah.
you know, you're a lot closer to it than I am, but from where I sit, none of this is inspiring. Like, it feels like at best, this is like a bridge staff that'll hopefully create some stability until you can get better people. At worst, it's a staff full of fall guys in a few years where you'll get everybody excited by firing all of them. It's like, I don't know, man. I just have a hard time. Like, as someone who covers the ACC, I have a hard time getting excited about Jeff Hafley being my head coach because I remember him as the Boston College head coach a couple years ago. Now, on one hand, probably nobody can win at Boston College because they don't have a budget, you know, none of that. So maybe that wasn't his fault, and Bill O'Brien's actually doing worse at Boston College than Jeff Hafley was. But still, it's hard for me to get excited about Hafley. It's hard for me to get excited about any of the people he's hiring and promoting. It's like, I mean, I'll give him a chance, right? I mean, I've been a Dolphin fan for 41 years, so I remember some good times, but I remember mostly pain. So I've got patience, Omar. I've been patient for the last 20 plus years. I can be patient for a few more, but none of this inspires me.
I will say this, and you're right. It's not inspiring. None of you. But what did you want? What exactly
I mean, you know, for a hot second, I was hoping Harbaugh would come here, but then I remembered, why would he come here with no quarterback?
Okay. Outside of that, I will say this in their defense from a coaching staff standpoint. I thought Joe Philbin's first staff, and remember, they were coming from Green Bay as well, was horrendous. I thought everybody was not prepared, in over their head, not qualified. Maybe everybody should have been an assistant to a position, to a tight end coach. I think there are 4 head coaches on Joe Philbin's staff. And that's pretty good.
Yeah,
You
good.
know,
Sure.
that's pretty good. From Dan Campbell to Cincinnati's coach. I can't remember who else is, but there are literally 4 head coaches on
Ben Johnson.
Ben Johnson was on.
I forgot he was on that staff.
There's like a 4th. It's ridiculous. And this was a staff that I thought sucked.
Yeah.
So, you know, give it some time. Let it marinate a little bit. And we don't know any of these individuals, so we don't know what they can become or who they'll become. Truthfully speaking, I thought Mike McDaniel's staff was phenomenal, and look what happened to it.
Yeah, no, that's fair. So the other big thing that you have coming up, we all have this coming up, is the NFL draft. At what point are you in, Omar, in your study of the prospects? Oh, I see you too early still. I was going to ask you who the Dolphins need to take at 11.
I got to do free agency first.
I know.
Understand that's the process that comes first, and I'm looking at free agent players and looking at who might get cut from each roster and crunching numbers in terms of how teams create cap space and just the business of the league, what guys are going to be waived or shaken down or traded. I'm in that process right now, because understand free agency comes before the draft. And why would I study cornerbacks for this draft? Yes, the Dolphins need them right now, but what happens if the Dolphins sign 2 cornerbacks? What happens if they re-sign Rasul Douglas and Jack Jones and Kader Kohu? What happens if all 3 of those guys get re-signed? Then all the studying I've done for cornerback is in vain. You know, same thing with pass rushers, edge rushers. What happened if they just say, you know what, Bradley Chubb, let's run it back, and then they go out there and they get Joey Bosa? Like, everything that I've done has been in vain. So I want to see how free agency plays out. I'm getting prepared for that, and
you
then
got the combine coming up in about a week too.
But you got to understand that you do realize the combine is not about the draft prospects. I love that everybody's like, oh, it's the combine. It's like that stuff about the draftees. That's just the backdrop. That's like
it's basically just to get all the personnel people there talking and drinking together.
talking, drinking, tampering. Yeah.
Yeah.
Every team is going to meet with every agent, and agents are going to sell their players, and they're going to start negotiating and tell you framework or contracts. Are you interested? Or are you not interested? Oh yeah. I run from the combine now. Isaiah from my Isaiah Smalls from Miami Herald, he goes, and you know why, Dono? I'm just going to be totally transparent with you.
Yeah.
To get information, it requires too much drinking.
Oh, so you can't. You're too. You're past that point.
I'm not a young man anymore.
It's a young man's game.
Too much drinking and too many 3 o'clock nights.
Yeah, I don't like those either. I'm in bed by 10 most nights. Yeah.
I don't have it anymore. I can't. Yeah. I don't have the stamina anymore. And then you got to wake up and start your day over at 11 and do it all again. My body can't handle it. Just
I appreciate the admission.
Yeah, but am I missing good information? Absolutely. I'm not missing the alcohol poisoning though, because it requires alcohol. It just absolutely requires alcohol and smoked cigar bars, and it's just it's very toxic to your body. But that is the NFL.
That's the cost of info in the NFL.
It is the cost of info.
I expect more from you.
Well, I know Omar was into that like in his 30s. For sure, you were all over that.
Yeah, it was such a sacrifice. I had to, and I cried and complained about late night drinking and, hanging out, talking to people and getting information. Oh, one of my favorite nights was I was in a suite. He's not an agent anymore, for Ben Dogro, who was with CAA, big time player. Okay. They had a suite. They had coaches, they had GMs, and so all those coaches and GMs were there. I believe we were playing cards. And you know how many deals got done that night? Probably
that's
about
incredible.
12.
Wow.
And you're just like, trades. I believe that was like the year Matt Castle was getting traded to Kansas City, because I remember Kansas City's coach. Can't remember his name, but he used to be
Todd Haley.
Todd Haley. Yep. Look at you. Look at you. I remember, man, that guy.
Trevor's got a memory on him.
He was drunk, but he got that deal done for Matt Castle, man. And that's just how. And it was in a. It was in a.
You forgot the other major piece to that deal, Mike Vrabel. He was in that same deal.
Oh, was he?
Yes.
Huh.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, it's that's how things get done. The Rosenhauses of the world will meet with 32 teams, and they'll, get hammer deals done for their players. They'll force trades find bidders for trade players like Minka Fitzpatrick, and they'll do the business that, find a home for Tyreek Hill. They'll do their business, and we'll pretend like we're there for draft prospects.
Yeah. Well, coming up next, talking about building rosters, Mario Cristobal built himself a nice one in Coral Gables with spring football about a month away. You want to keep it right here. It's the Joe Rose Show, FM 104.3 WQAM.
Atlantic Men's Clinic. Boy, I tell you what.
We've made it easy to find us. Listen to WQAM on FM 104.3 or on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps.
Wow, that was so easy.
All of our shows are there live or on demand. Plus, there's the cool rewind feature where you can listen to any part of any show you might have missed. Anytime.
There is someone up above. And
Welcome back into the Joe Rose Show, FM 104.3 WQAM. I am Alex Dono. I think Omar's going to be back in a second. He was frozen, but now he is unfrozen. We have thawed Omar out. Omar, we were doing some shows together a few weeks back with Hollywood, and this was like right before it broke that Darian Mensah was going to be transferring from Duke to Miami to play quarterback. Of course, that deal was cemented a couple of weeks ago. Mensah's in classes. He's on campus. He's doing off-season workouts before spring ball is going to start in about a month. And, honestly, Omar, I'm more excited for Mensah for obvious reasons than I was about Carson Beck. Beck had a good year at Miami, helped the team get to the national championship game, take nothing away with him. But there's just so much more the Hurricanes can do with Darian Mensah at quarterback, with his ability to run the football, to scramble, to extend plays, to make off-schedule throws. Carson Beck was an on-schedule guy. Darian Mensah can very much be an off-schedule guy. And I really think Miami's offense this coming season is going to look a little bit more like it did in 2024 than 2025.
Is that necessarily a good thing?
As long as the defense is good again, it's going to be fine.
Yeah, I saw Mensah for like one game watching Duke, so I can't tell you whether or not he's dynamic. I know he used to train with Cam Ward.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm assuming that's what sold him on the University of Miami. Does he have ties to South Florida?
I don't believe he has any South Florida ties because he's originally from California, I believe. So I guess
why was he training down here with Cam Ward then?
Well, Cam, because he's like a magnet for other quarterbacks like Cam and Shador Sanders and Kyron Drones, the former Virginia Tech quarterback. So I don't know. I think Cam Ward's just the type of guy who brings quarterbacks together to train.
As long as he can continue to sell them and recruit them. Great.
Yeah,
you appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't in a panic state because UM had gained a reputation for being the big bidder and making sure that they lure quarterbacks. Like this one's, you pulled it out to your butt cheeks on this.
Yes, very much so. And if they hadn't pulled this one, this was the last chance saloon. But it's ironic because I like Darian Mensah better than some of the guys that turned Miami down before they got Mensah. Like Sam Leavitt from Arizona State was like really the big roll of the dice for Miami. And it seemed like they almost had Leavitt like in the bag, but Lane Kiffin went full stalker mode. Like he showed up, he intercepted Leavitt at the airport in Knoxville and made sure the deal got done. But I think Miami's better off with Mensah because Leavitt is injured, and we don't know exactly when he's going to be healthy again. He's definitely going to miss spring. So to have Mensah, who's healthy and ready to go right now, and I think a better quarterback anyway than Leavitt, I'm completely happy with what Miami got.
So what happens with the quarterbacks that the University of Miami had?
Yeah, okay. So that's a great question because obviously this is 3 years in a row they've gone into the transfer portal, right? And now,
why would a quarterback come here?
Right, and in bringing in another transfer, and Emory Williams, who already transferred out, I think he knew this was going to happen. He knew they were looking at other quarterbacks, so he went to ECU. But I would take Darian Mensah over Emory Williams 7 days a week and twice on Sunday, so I have no issue with that. But there are a couple of younger quarterbacks that are in the room right now, Omar. Luke Nickel, who's a talented player, former multi-time state champion in Georgia. He's heading into his second year. And Darion Coleman, I really like coming in as a true freshman. So the real question is going to be, because they're both still here. They didn't transfer out. They're not leaving. So what happens after Mensa? Now, Mensa technically has 2 years of eligibility, but he wants to play one more year and go to the NFL. So unless he has like a bad year, he's not going to come back for 2027, right? So after Mensa moves on, does Miami go the transfer route again, or do they turn the room over to their young guys? And I don't think that that's been decided. I don't think that has been decided yet.
Sure.
You got the mind of an 8th grader. So I think Miami is always going to take the approach of, if you have a clear option to upgrade externally, you're going to be willing to do whatever you can to make your quarterback room better. And if that means there's an amazing transfer out there, you think about it. But I do think Miami a year from now is going to at least have the option of 2 young quarterbacks you can feel pretty comfortable with, because I think they're both super talented. So I don't know. I'm not guaranteeing anything, but this might be the last year for a while that we go to the portal for a sure starter. It might be.
Interesting. What makes me feel real like a old funny duddy is, I remember going back in the day, and I covered this Hurricanes team where Kellen Winslow, Eric Winston, Antro Roll, Sean Taylor, Jonathan Vilma. I covered that team where they were all backups.
Yeah.
They were all
young, 2000 or 2001. 01. They were all backups. Yeah.
Backups, learning, cutting their teeth, being groomed, patiently not patiently, but waiting in the wings. They were all being groomed. And in this day and age of college football, can anybody be groomed anymore?
No.
What kid doesn't want his $1 million and a guarantee that he's going to play right away?
Right.
I was watching people train at Pete Bomarito's, and then there's you'll know the name. There's a former University of Miami wide receiver that transferred to Georgia. Didn't have that great statistical season, but
like recently, Colby Young, maybe.
Colby Young, yeah.
Colby Young, yeah.
Looks like an Adonis. Looks like a specimen of an athlete.
Yeah, he's like 6'4". Yeah.
6'4", runs fast, moves fluidly. And I'm thinking to myself, like, okay, why didn't this take off for him? Why didn't it? What happened here in this, in this process or translation? And all I could think about was he probably got impatient, probably wanted to chase the money, and just got lost in the sauce. Because I think that's what's happening to a lot of these guys. Like, I hear all the time about, there's 20,000 people in the transfer portal and only like 9,000 scholarships. Like, what happens when you go to the transfer portal and nobody wants you? Like,
yeah, and part of that problem is all of these guys assume when I hit the portal, everybody's going to want me. And some of the crappy agents, because there are some really good agents, there's also some terrible ones who convince these guys, you go into the portal, your phone's going to be ringing off the hook. That's not true for a lot of them.
Ooh, it's just a wild, wild west. And while I love the fact that players are being compensated for their work, because I've always watched them do the work and not get the compensation. I remember the days when Jonathan Vilma had to go do an internship for his degree, couldn't be paid for it, and then had to go to football practice. Yeah. Like, if throw up air quotes. Yes. That's was the world that we were living in. Yeah. People were showing up at car dealerships and cars just so happened to be in their name, or, showing up at Best Buy and, big screen televisions just so happened to be purchased for them and they were handed.
It fell off the truck, right? I mean, how did that get here?
Yeah. I mean, somebody gave me a receipt for a television that's in my name. I just picked up. It's these things happen. Book bags full of cash, a Dodge Charger given to your uncle. Yeah, I mean, I love who the former LSU and USC coach. He has got hurricane.
Yeah, Coach O Ed Ogeron.
He's like, we used to go through the back door. Now we just go through the front.
By the way, can I give you the ultimate example of how much college football has changed over the years? So, you rewind to, 10 years ago or 15, whatever, back when you covered it. Guys used to fight tooth and nail to get to the NFL. Right now, did you follow Trinidad Chambliss, the quarterback of Ole Miss?
Oh yeah.
He took it to court so he wouldn't have to go to the NFL. Like, I want to play a 6 year of college. He fought tooth and nail not to go to the league.
Understand, and I think I'm going to write a column about this because I've been seeing it coming, and it's impacting. People don't realize it's impacting the NIL is impacting the NFL.
100%.
Not only is it changing the character and the makeup of these players, because understand, when you're in college, you don't like your coach, you don't like what's going on in the situation, you don't like your playing time. Oh, I'm transferring. I'm picking my stuff up and I'm leaving. You can't do that in the NFL.
No.
And you work for us for 4 years till we decide what we're going to do with you. And if you've worked for your freedom, then enjoy free agency if we don't tag you one good time.
Exactly.
And you don't decide where you go. We decide who you play for. Now you have the entitled era of players, and I think Shedeur Sanders was the first one that paid the price for it, because the NFL is setting an example. You don't run this. You're not going to. Shedeur's telling people, everybody could draft me but Cleveland. Oh, who drafted you? Cleveland. Yeah, Cleveland. And not just that, but there was a big push this last year for second round picks to have all of their contracts fully guaranteed. It was needed. Only first round picks had their contracts fully guaranteed. Now, last year, second round picks pushed for the contracts to be fully guaranteed. This year, you'll see third round picks push for the contracts to be fully guaranteed. But Trinidad Chambliss, he's going to make $5 million, at least $5 million from Ole Miss. Mm-hmm. If he were drafted in anything lower than a third round pick, he would have lost money in the NFL over 4 years compared to what he was going to make
1 year.
For 1 year.
That's nuts.
So that's why he's fighting.
Wow. Well, we're going to have at 8 o'clock, we're going to talk Miami Dolphins and NFL with Sun Sentinel Dolphins columnist Chris Perkins. When we come back, though, we mentioned Miami won a big basketball game on Saturday against NC State, and a Miami player has been, I think, ridiculously been called out for unsportsmanlike conduct. You want to keep it locked right here. We're not done yet on the Joe Rose Show. Omar and Donna with you on 104.3 WQAM.
All right, I want to tell you who's really busy right now.
Kick it! You wake up late for school, man, you don't want to go.
Welcome back to the Joe Rose Show on FM 104.3 WQAM. We'll be joined at the top of the 8 o'clock hour by Chris Perkins of the Sun Sentinel. Omar, I mentioned the huge comeback win for Miami basketball on Saturday against NC State. Don't you just love it when players celebrate and then the moral police show up and criticize? So this blowhard Seth Davis, basketball journalist, hoopshq.com, was on X. He was criticizing Miami players. It was led by True Washington, who was the one who hit the decisive free throws to win the game, right? Right after the final horn sounds, Miami wins the game. They come back with an 8-point run, an 8-0 run in the final 52 seconds. It was incredible. So True Washington was going around just double wave to the road fans, having his victory lap after winning the game. And a few other Miami players were doing the Cam Ward celebration. And Seth Davis, he sends out this X post. I spy bad karma, he says. How about just celebrate with your teammates? And this is pushed out on the original team account. Beware the basketball gods. First of all, it's a ridiculous take. Second of all, context is also important, Omar. And it's important to note, True Washington is waving at the road fans, bye-bye, see ya. He's not flipping the bird. He's not yelling profanities or anything like that. Whereas the crowd had been yelling profanities at him. That was the important context. The crowd in Raleigh had been chanting, F you, Miami, and they weren't censoring it the way I just censored it. They were chanting F you, Miami, and I think after the game, you win the game, I think you're entitled to wave to the road fans. I don't see anything wrong with it. In fact, I thought it was pretty cool to go win a tough road game in a big-time environment and let the fans know. Nothing wrong with it. If anything, if there's bad karma, the bad karma will be on the NC State fans, not the Miami players.
Yeah. It's they're kids. They're young kids. Who cares? I know they're millionaires now, but let them live, let them enjoy themselves. It's a sport. Why take this so personally? Bad karma, bad juju. It's sports. Unfortunately, we're in an era of social media where people do things for attention. I get accused of that all the time. I get enough attention. I don't like my attention, so why would I do things for more attention? I'm good. I'm good. I can't say anything. You think so? I can't say anything.
You love your attention. That's why. Come on.
No. I don't love my attention. Imagine living a life for the last 20 years. No matter what you say, somebody has something to say about it. Kind of gets.
Yeah, I've noticed that with you. You're like a magnet for comments. I don't know what it is about you.
It doesn't matter what I say. It's
no, it doesn't.
I could say it's a sunny day outside, and people would be like, "Oh, it was better off. Yeah, it was sunnier yesterday." What are you talking about? It's gonna rain later today. Look at you. What do you know? It doesn't matter what I say. That's the usual response. I had to explain this to a girl I started dating. A woman, sorry, not a girl. I'm moving up in the age bracket, so women now. Yeah. She's like, why do so many people respond to you or talk to you or get upset about what you do or what you say? And I'm just like, because I am the expert on the thing that they believe they are the expert and want to show you that they're smarter than you. And you were the same thing, Dono.
Yeah, sure. I've never heard it described better than that. When you cover something for a living that everyone thinks they're an expert on, Yeah, it puts you in a weird spot.
Like, yeah, you know, and this is not to brag. Literally right now, what I've been avoiding my actual job is to go look at football film of Malik Willis. Last week, you know what I did for my job? I watched every snap Malik Willis took. Like, that's my job.
Hey,
like,
yeah.
you went and you made your widgets. And you taught your fifth grade class, or you did somebody's taxes. I watched Malik Willis play, and formulated my own personal thoughts. And everybody wants to pretend that they did it, and wants to pretend that they know better, and wants to pretend that they can play GM, and that includes me too, because I told you to draft Tua Tagovailoa. What do I know? What do I know?
Whoopsie.
Yeah. But that's, and unfortunately, a lot of people do things for attention in this era of Twitter. And it doesn't hurt that Twitter pays you now for engagement.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, not much.
It's something though.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, true. It was lunch money the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah. You know what? For the first time, so I was below the payment threshold last week, and I realized I should have hammered the Super Bowl halftime show. That was my mistake, because that's what got everybody their engagements. Everybody got their engagements from arguing about Bad Bunny, and I'm like, I didn't tweet about it. I missed the boat on that one.
I'm at a low point because I just don't want I don't have that much to talk about, and two, for people who cover football, it's a low point. That's why I had never missed the payment threshold before. Yeah.
It was the first time, because I don't have much to say without football.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and hammer Dolphins assistants, and then when I meet them, they look at me side eye for engagement. I'm good. I don't, despite what Trevor thinks, I don't do things for engagement. I get enough engagement without doing anything.
I don't think you do. I think because you can tell people who purposely do stuff for engagement, and I've never gotten those vibes from Omar. You're just I'll tell you what you do, and you don't do it on purpose. Like you perceive things a different way than 90% of the population. So you always have a unique take. You process the same game, the same information, but you look at things a different way, and that just makes you a magnet for critiques and criticism and engagement. It just makes you don't do it on purpose. It's just who you are.
Well, you should imagine my dating life. I'll be with somebody or a wife, and she'll tell me the situation that she's encountering or what's going on at work, and I just have the ability to look at things from the other perspective, and I analyze it from the other perspective backwards. And that's how my brain has always worked. It has always been wired that way. I look at and we got to get into this Malik Willis conversation. We'll definitely have it in the 8 o'clock hour, because I don't have a real popular opinion on Malik Willis.
Oh, okay.
It's not a bad opinion, and best of luck to them if that's what they decide to do. But paying that guy $20-30 million a year, you're setting yourself up for failure. History is not a kind on your side here, brother.
Nope.
But hey, for what I will say, they have more information than everybody in the NFL. They have seen him more than these two individuals, John Eric Sullivan and Hafley, have seen him more than anybody else in the NFL. So if they decide they want to give him $20-30 million, hey, good luck to you. Let's hope this pans out. But the history is not kind to those quarterback come up stories. But we'll figure that out. But I'm looking forward to our next conversation with Chris Perkins. Me and Perk. And this is what people don't realize. We usually don't see. We do this all the time. No radio. We don't need an audience. We just argue about stuff all the time. it's not even manufactured. It's just we sit on completely different spectrums of life. I don't even know what Chris is thinking or talking about lately, but I guarantee you we're gonna find something to fight about.
Well, and we're about to find that because Chris Perkins joins us next here on 104.3 WQAM.
Anyway, right now I want to tell you about your South Florida Chevy dealers this morning. Suburban.
You know.
clutch free throws from True Washington. Canes baseball, meanwhile, completed an opening weekend sweep over Lehigh, taking the finale 27-3 on Sunday. In that game, they set a program record for most runs in a single inning, with 15 scored in the fifth. NBA All-Star Weekend is now in the rear view. Miami Heat's Keyshawn Johnson won the dunk contest on Saturday night. The Heat will return to action this Friday on the road in Atlanta. And the Olympics continue from Milan and Cortina. Team USA sitting third in the overall medal count with 17 behind Norway and Italy. The Joe Rose Show is coming your way next here on FM 104.3 WQAM. Oh, was I muted the entire time? Welcome back to the Joe Rose Show as we go out to the Toyota of Hollywood hotline. Shop over 2,000 Toyotas on sale at one location, Toyota of Hollywood on 441 between Hollywood and Sheridan, toyotaofhollywood.com. Alex Dono and Omar Kelly. We bring in Chris Perkins, columnist from the South Florida Sun-Sentinel. Perk, good morning. How are you, sir?
Oh, fellas, I'm doing great, man. The sun is out. It's wintertime in South Florida. I'm loving life right now.
I'm loving life as well, Perk, and I think we'll start with the three letters that get every Dolphin fan talking. TUA, Tua Tagovailoa. What do you think is the most likely future coming up for Tua in or without a Miami Dolphins uniform? What happens for next season, Perk?
I think Tua goes somewhere as a backup, and he's got to do the Ryan Tannehill thing where you remember when Ryan Tannehill went to Tennessee as Marcus Mariota's backup. Mariota gets injured, Tannehill gets the job and never lets it go. I think that's what's in the future for Tua if he wants to become a starter again. I don't think there's a team in the league that's going to invite him to camp as a starter this season. I think his future is he gets released by the Dolphins as a post-June 1st cut. They take the $67 million dead money hit this year, $32 million dead money hit next year. They're done with him. If they're smart, they don't marry Malik Willis, and you use your defense to propel this team in 2026. You find your quarterback in 2027.
So that means that you are going with Quinn Ewers as your starting quarterback, or what's the situation?
No, that means in camp you have Quinn Ewers, you have a mid-round draft pick, no later than third round, and then you bring in a veteran with starting experience, maybe a Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins is the best in the league at taking a 6-win team to 10 wins. He can't take a 10-win team to the championship game, but he will get you from 6 to 10. So you invite a veteran along the lines of him. I don't like Trey Lance too much, but somebody with starting experience, somebody like that, you let those three battle it out. I'll tell you what kind of drives my theory there. It's a terrible year for quarterbacks, both as free agents and in the draft. I don't like committing to Malik Willis because through 4 years, I have not seen enough of a body of work to commit to this man 3 or 4 year contract for $20-30 million a year, because if he's not your starter, that's essentially more dead money on your contract, right? It's not like he's a defensive end where you can rotate him in. He's a quarterback. He's on the bench. That salary goes to waste. So what the Dolphins are doing right now, and I don't know if you guys recognize this, there's a defensive trend going on in the NFL right now. In the last 3 years, okay, all 6 teams in the Super Bowl champ and the Super Bowl runner-up, they've been in the top 10 in the league in total defense. They've been in the top 4 in the league in scoring defense. You understand? Like all 6 teams in the Super Bowl, the last 3 years have been in the top 4 in the league in scoring defense. Defense is doing good right now. The quarterback play in the playoffs was ass. It was totally bad. It was terrible. There was only one quarterback who had a completion percentage of over 65%. The previous 3 years, it was 7 quarterbacks, 8 quarterbacks, 8 quarterbacks. I think only 2 quarterbacks had a passing percentage of 100 or more passer rating. In the previous years, you've had like 6 or 7. So use your defense to kind of catch this break in good quarterback play, right? A time where Joe Burrow doesn't make the playoffs, Lamar Jackson doesn't make the playoffs. We see Josh Allen have 4 turnovers in a playoff game. We see C.J. Stroud have 3 interceptions in a playoff game. We see Drake May have 4 fumbles in a playoff game. Quarterback play is kind of at a dip, so use your defense, take advantage. You don't have to commit to Malik Willis. That's bad money to me right now. I just haven't seen enough from him. So I say build the trenches and build the defense of your Dolphins.
Okay, so part of your formula there, Perk, and I like it. I like what you're giving to me. Part of your formula was, bring in a rookie quarterback. I think you said no later than the 3rd round. I know it's really early. Like Omar already hated when I was asking him draft stuff earlier, but I don't know. Are there any quarterback names you've been kicking around who might be there in the 2nd and 3rd round?
No, not really. I really don't like the quarterbacks that are in this draft. The number 1 is Fernando Mendoza. The number 2 is Ty Simpson from Alabama, and those are both the first-round guys. I saw Garrett Nussmeier from LSU down at the Senior Bowl. Yeah, he's okay. He's like a 2nd or 3rd round guy. Carson Beck is maybe 4th or 5th round type of a guy. But I don't think. See, I think you need to bring in a guy who has starter capability. I didn't see anybody at the Senior Bowl, including Garrett Nussmeier, who has starting capability as a rookie. So you bring in somebody, because I think if you draft a quarterback in the 4th through 7th rounds, you're basically drafting a backup. I know about Gardner Minshew and Tom Brady and Brock Purdy, but Dak Prescott. That's about where the list stops, right? With those 4.
Kirk Cousins.
So, yeah, there's a few more, but you're basically drafting a backup, right? If you draft a quarterback in the 4th through the 7th round. So I would, and you've already got a 7th rounder on your roster with 10 viewers. So get somebody of quality, somebody who you think could actually compete for the starting job. And there's not many of those guys out there.
You mentioned something that I'm not saying I'm absolutely against it, Perk, but we've been on this road before in terms of Ryan Fitzpatrick. Why would you get a stopgap quarterback who's just going to keep you exactly where you are, which is as a 500 or close franchise?
Oh, that's easy, because you can make it to the top from here. Look at what Seattle did with Geno Smith and Sam Darnold. I think their low point in the last 5 years was like 7 wins. They never went down to 2 wins or 4 wins like New England. And
that's because they draft well.
One pick in the draft.
That's because
then Dolphins, there's your message. That's your message. It's not
That's why we got a new GM.
You draft poorly. You're still going to draft poorly if you lose more. Draft better.
Yeah. I'm not disagreeing with you, but yeah, I mean, I don't think it's responsible to compare yourself to the best franchises in the NFL, the Baltimores and the Seattles, because you don't draft well. Yeah, and that's go ahead.
That's how you get to be one of the best franchises. You can't assume they're going to continue to draft poorly and move up. You've got to draft better. That's the key to moving up. That's why Hafley and Sullivan are here instead of Greer and McDaniel, right? Well, that's
easier said than done. And we've probably been a poor drafting team since Jimmy Johnson. Jimmy Johnson's got Sam Madison, Pat Surtain, Jason Taylor, Zach Thomas, and who else?
Yeah, but Omar, you don't just throw your hands in the air and say, well, we're never going to draft well, because if that's what you're doing, why are you in the league? You have to keep striving. You have to keep trying to get the guys who will draft better. And that's what the Dolphins, I think, did this time, that not only will they use the talent in your roster better, they will draft better.
We have absolutely no proof.
But you hope, Omar. You don't just stay stuck in the mud.
Who hope? I don't hope. I'm not buying no hope, Perk. Hope is not for sale over here. Hope gets sent off the porch. Perk, I cover the Dolphins. Hope does not live over here.
Hope is all we have, Omar.
No.
It really is. I mean,
I run Hope off like it's a Jehovah's Witness. Gone. Get out of here.
Look,
we don't believe in you over here.
Look, I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm saying you strive for excellence. You don't strive for mediocrity. You strive to be the best that you can. So you keep trying to get better. You find the guys who can get you those good draft picks. You don't just throw your hands up in the air and say, we're always going to suck at the draft. You try to be the best at the draft. So that's what they're doing. And so, look, what I think is that you need to build the trenches right now. Like the quarterback, I don't think you're going to find your quarterback this year. So I'm going to build my trenches. I'm going to build my defense. And when the quarterback comes, it's plug and play, like Tom Brady was in Tampa Bay, like Matthew Stafford was in L.A. Pretty much how it worked out for Sam Darnold.
Those are quarterbacks that cherry pick their situations that you've just mentioned.
But don't focus on the quarterback. Focus on how the team prepared before the quarterback got there, so that when the quarterback got there, you didn't have to build the trenches. You didn't have to build the defense. It was pretty much established, and you just stuck the quarterback in there. That's what I'm talking about.
Okay, so let's just build the top defense in the league. Okay, gotcha. I got you. We'll figure it out. We'll just build the top defense in the league and run the game.
Omar, look, have you paid attention to the league the last few years? How defense has dominated. Look, even in college this year, you might have focused on Fernando Mendoza and Carson Beck. Those were two good defensive teams in the championship. Right. Defense got them there. Defense is what's winning nowadays. I'm not saying the league is turning defensive. It's going to be a quarterback's league for the foreseeable future. I'm saying pay attention to what's been happening now. Look at what Kansas City did, and I know they have Patrick Mahomes. Look at how well their defense played. Look at how well Philly's defense played. San Francisco, Seattle. Go back to New England. Look at the numbers. Look at the games. Defense is doing it right now. So I'm saying in a year where you don't have an obvious quarterback pick, build your defense. It's working right now. It's working in the NFL the last few years, and it worked in college football this year.
We're joined here by South Florida Sun Sentinel Miami Dolphins columnist Chris Perkins. All right, so on that note, Perk, I mean, your early impressions of John Eric Sullivan and the new Dolphins Brain Trust, have you gotten a sense of what his NFL draft philosophy is going to look like, and do you have faith that they can build that foundation now?
Well, I don't know about faith. I'm more optimistic about them than I was about Greer McDaniel, because I like the way Sullivan and Hafley are speaking. I like what they're saying. Action is something different, but I like what I'm hearing. I like to talk about physicality. I like to talk about defense. I like to talk about building the trenches. I like to talk about drafting a quarterback every year.
You heard all of that before, Perk. You heard all of that before.
No, I didn't. When did Mike McDaniel talk about really building up that defense? He added Ramsey and Fangio in 2023, but that fell apart pretty quickly, didn't it? There was no consistent commitment to building the defense. There was no commitment to drafting a quarterback every year. There was no commitment to toughness and physicality. They were the opposite of what we're hearing right now. So,
well, Greer Greer took that approach till he pivoted. When Greer started in 2000,
when McDaniel came is when he pivoted.
True. Yeah. I mean,
that was Mike, not Chris. But I'm talking about the administration. Let's not cherry pick here. But I like what Sullivan and Hafley are saying, and I like their attitude. We'll see if actions match the words, but I like what I'm hearing right now.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. They've seen it built the right way. I will say Green Bay is one of the organizations that have built an NFL franchise the right way. Now, but the thing is, it doesn't happen overnight. And what I find interesting is that the New England Patriots and Seattle Seahawks, they both built their franchises overnight. And the problem is, Dolphin fans hopefully won't have that kind of expectation, or maybe they should have that kind of expectation. Perk, I mean, you give me Kirk Cousins.
100% they should. Listen, don't just stop it at Seattle and New England. Look at what Chicago has done. Look at what Denver has done. Look at what Jacksonville has done.
Chicago was lost in Siberia for like a decade before they finally turned the corner after having how many?
I'll give him Denver, though. A couple years ago, we hung 70 points on those bums, and then they passed us immediately after that.
Yeah. I mean, look, again, pay attention to the league-wide trends. Look at what Dan Campbell did in Detroit in a 3-year span. Like, these guys, Sullivan and Hafley, have to understand that they know that it's been 25 years since the Dolphins have won a playoff game. Set that part aside. They've got to understand GMs and coaches are doing this in 2 years, 3 years now. If they haven't been to the playoffs after the 2027 season, 2028, there's going to be some hard questions, right? I mean, you give them 2026 as a reset. 2027, you got to start to make a move, or else 2028, if you look at the league-wide trend, again, how coaches and GMs are turning this thing in 2 and 3 years, you need to make some action happen by year 3, by 2028. And if you haven't done anything by 2027, there's probably going to be hard questions asked. Again, the league is kind of changing right now. Absolutely. You're seeing a little more defense, and you're seeing these turnarounds happen in 2 or 3 years. I'm not saying these turnarounds always lead to a Super Bowl title. I don't know how long they're going to last, right? Let's see if Jaden Daniels can get Washington back somewhere. But these turnarounds are happening, and if you win 4 games next year and 6 games in 2027, 2028, you're going to get some hard questions, at least from me. I don't know how the rest of the media is going to handle it, but from me, Sullivan and Hafley will start getting hard questions.
So, Perk, as it seems like we're about to turn the page on the Tua era with the Miami Dolphins, I'm not asking necessarily how it will be, but how should Tua's time with the Miami Dolphins be remembered?
Oh gosh, here we go. Okay, so I said this on Alan Poupart's podcast, and I got a bunch of crap for it. I view the Greer, McDaniel, Tua era as a failure because
so do I. I'm not going to give you crap for that.
Yeah, you inherited a team that had back-to-back winning seasons, and you gave back a team that had back-to-back losing seasons. And in the meantime, you didn't win a playoff game. What was your major accomplishment in the meantime? Back-to-back playoff appearances? There's tons of teams doing that in the league. You had the number 1 offense? Yeah, okay, not against playoff teams. You only averaged 16 points a game in 2023 against playoff teams. Like, what was the major accomplishment? And when you look at expectations with the resources that you gathered, you had Tua, you had Jalen Waddle, you had Tyreek, Teron Armstead, Jalen Ramsey, Vic Fangio, Calais Campbell, Rob Hunt, Christian Wilkins, Andrew Van Ginkel, Xavier Howard, like all these players you had, and you couldn't even win a playoff game? I'm sorry, and this is not personal or vicious. The time it was a failure based on expectations and resources expended.
I'm not arguing with you about it being a failure, but I think our logic and reasoning why it was a failure probably needs to be examined and learned from, because I believe it was a failure from this standpoint. They put all these resources into drafting, into draftees, had 3 first-round picks, had 2 first-round picks, had 3 first-round picks, and, trading away a lot of players for draft picks. And they didn't have a plan when those draft picks matured to the point where they needed second contracts. Not only that, but when they started to pivot to trading away draft picks for players with big contracts, they didn't do well enough in the later rounds to supplement their roster. And then they had to add it with free agents who broke down, who were either cheap players or broke down mid-season. Yes. Did everything start improperly when they took Tua over Jordan Love or Justin Herbert? Probably, yes. In hindsight, now that he's not, his arm died on him in 6 years. Clearly it was a mistake. But
see, I don't put. Go ahead.
You don't put it on the arm.
I don't put most of this on Tua. I put it on Mike McDaniel. You had the talent. You deployed it incorrectly. Where was that physical run? The 2025 run game should have been on the 2023 team.
They ran for 2,400 yards 2023.
Yeah, but they abandoned the run in a lot of big spots, though.
They correct. Against Tennessee, you couldn't run the ball to finish the game, and you end up losing 28-27, right? Which was the game that started this tailspin.
Yes.
You went into that Tennessee game 18-12. That was your record over the first 30. Over the last 40, you were 17-23. And it wasn't injuries. It was just that you could never beat the teams. You were 5-22 against playoff teams. I'm not sure I wouldn't put it on injuries. Injuries on the offensive line, injuries to Tua, injuries to Tyreek. No, you were healthy in 2023. You were healthy when you got beaten by Buffalo 48-20, right? You were healthy when you lost to Kansas City. You were healthy when you lost to Philadelphia, right? That's not an excuse. You were healthy when you lost to Tennessee. I mean, you had that doesn't matter. The games that you were healthy those are the games you should have taken advantage, and you should have beaten the good teams. Don't tell me we lost to Buffalo 56-19 because we had injuries. You should have beaten Buffalo, or you should have beaten Kansas City, or you should have beaten Philly. You weren't on the same level of those teams because you lacked physicality, you lacked an effective run game, and you didn't put enough emphasis on the trenches. I mean, it was playing style. It was strategy and philosophy more than talent. That to me, that's why that era failed. And I want to see this era correct those things, focus more on those things as opposed to speed and finesse and touchdown sellies and social media likes. Get serious about the game.
I like the perspective. I like the perspective from both of you guys, from Omar and of course from Chris Perkins, who just joined us on the Toyota of Hollywood hotline. Make sure you check out Perk's work in the South Florida Sun Sentinel. Perk, thank you so much for taking the time, and enjoy the rest of your President's Day and the rest of your week coming up.
Yes, sir. I'll do it again with you guys. Appreciate it.
Let me guess, Perk. Alcohol is going to be involved.
No. You know what? So let me tell you a quick story. So when I got back from the Senior Bowl, the Senior Bowl is in Mobile. I always fly into New Orleans. It's a 2-hour drive from Mobile to New Orleans. But I cut out like 2 days for myself in New Orleans. Second half of the season. Yeah. I did more eating than drinking there. Can you believe that, Omar?
I can believe it. Having been there, I can believe that. Yeah.
So after the Senior Bowl, I was at 207 pounds. First time in my life I've been over 200 pounds. So this was the whole second half of the season that I wasn't working out. So in short, there's been I've only drank once. This won't surprise you, Omar. That was when me and Adam Beasley went to play golf. But since being back from the Super Bowl, there's been no alcohol, been working out, on the diet. So after this, I'm about to go work out. So yeah, there's been no
Look
alcohol.
at Perk changing his life right now.
Hey.
207 is not good, man. Clothes don't fit the set. I'm not going out and buying all new clothes. Man, that's it. Get back in shape.
So it's just your cheapness that's motivating.
Yeah, well, when it starts costing you money, it's time to go on a diet.
That's right. Exactly. Get back in shape, baby. That's it.
I love it. Well, he's going to be slim by the end of the week. Chris Perkins, we'll talk to him again, and we'll talk to you guys right here. We continue on the Joe Rose Show, 104.3 WQAM.
Right now, I want to talk to you about Michael Kotze at short.
shows, same great games. Plus, you can use the rewind feature and listen to anything you missed. Go for it.
Welcome back into the Joe Rose Show, 104.3 WQAM. Alex Dono and Omar Kelly in for Joe. We got Trevor Harris, who's in for Hollywood, and Jamie. He's in for everybody. All right, so Omar, we after talking there with Chris Perkins, after hearing what you had to say earlier, I think you, me, and Perk are all in agreement about not wanting to invest large sums of money into Malik Willis, which is he's obviously having some ties to become a possible new quarterback of the Miami Dolphins. There's going to be links to Arizona as well and some other spots. But, you mentioned you spent last week watching every snap Malik Willis has played. Like, talk to me about your reservations and why you don't think, 30+ million is worth the squeeze there.
Let's just start out with the financials. And when we say 30 million, I wouldn't shy away from putting 30 million into Malik Willis, but that's not a year. That's in guaranteed money. Mm-hmm. I'm probably at the range of maybe $12 million a year. Just from when you look at the body of work, it's not big enough to give substantial payday. Now, if another team feels that he is, the Steelers or maybe Minnesota or the Browns, I hear the Browns are definitely interested, or maybe, Indianapolis goes that route. Okay, they want to pay more, fine. And I say all of this with the preface that these individuals know more than everybody about Malik Willis. So if Hafley watched him and allegedly tear up his defense every week, and just like he told Joe Rose when he did the radio interview, sometimes Malik Willis had a better week of practice than the player that we played, or put up bigger numbers than the player that we played. If that's what you've seen and that's what you believe and you want to hang your career on it, so be it. More power to you. I have developed this belief and conviction that a general manager should only get to pick 2 quarterbacks. Yep. After 2, your time is up. If you've selected 2 and neither of them get the job done and neither of them develop into something that's a top 10 quarterback, your time's up. And if this is what John Eric Sullivan and Jeff Hafley and Mike Hafley want to use as their first quarterback selection, okay, I'm fine with it. But when I watched his film, what I saw, and let me preface this by saying, I remember evaluating him when he was at Liberty, when he was projected as a first-round pick, and everybody was talking about him and somebody else being in the first round of the draft. I think it was a North Carolina quarterback. I can't remember. It wasn't a very good draft class. And I said basically, yeah, no, this is not a first-round talent. He was small, transferred from Auburn, only played in the shotgun, was playing a lower level, inferior talent. Maybe if I'd seen him at the Senior Bowl playing at a high level of talent and doing well, I would have thought differently. Then you put on top of that size. He is the exact same size as Tua Tagovailoa.
That's the thing that scares a lot of Dolphin fans away, on top of everything else you said.
Yeah,
same size as Tua.
Same size as Tua, just runs better. And for those who love that running element, and I get how the running element is growing and sexier, and it's a cheat code. Defensive coaches absolutely gravitate to the running quarterback because they know how difficult it is to play.
Yeah.
He is 6 foot, 220 pounds. how much beating do you think he can take?
Yeah, not a whole lot. That's
Not
rough.
that.
Yeah, you need to be like Josh Allen's size to be able to take an enhanced number of
Josh
beating over the
Allen,
years.
Cam Newton, you
Yeah,
have to
Cam
be a
Newton as
pocket
well.
passer. And when you look at a
Yeah.
lot of his film and a lot of the success he had in Green Bay, he utilized his legs on a lot of those plays. He utilized his legs to extend a lot of those plays. He utilized his legs to run for first downs. I want my quarterback doing that in critical moments, third downs, red zone, game is on the line, playoffs. That's how Patrick Mahomes plays. If you do it on an every down basis, you're destined for failure. You're destined to be on IR. I think the arm is superior to what Tua had at the height of Tua, but is it like Josh Allen? No. Is it Drake May? No. Is it Will Levis? No. And to me, that's cool, but you're telling, and he cannot diagnose and read the field like Tua. That's why, like I'm saying now, and this is a very uncomfortable spot to be in, like Malik Willis will not come here if Tua is here, because I don't believe Malik Willis has the confidence to know that he can read a defense better than Tua and therefore beat out Tua. Tua's going to move the chain on third downs, not with his legs, but with his arms. Now, will he last till December? Absolutely not.
No.
But if he can't beat out Tua in a legitimate quarterback competition, why am I overpaying him? No. That's my thought process. I set my price. I make it a fair price. I let him know the situation. It's pretty much going to be the Matt Flynn situation. I don't know does anybody remember Matt Flynn back when Joe Philbin came here, and they had interest, but they weren't overpaying. And yeah, there's no quarterback that you can go get in this draft. And okay, that doesn't mean that you still make a bad decision. And we'll see how it plays out. I would be more comfortable going to trade for Will Levis and going to trade for Anthony Richardson and developing them than I would be paying Malik Willis $20 million a year. And my reasoning is, from the Kevin Cobbs to the Matt Castles. Matt Castle might be the best success story but understand, Matt Castle and Jimmy Garoppolo are the best success stories of backups who elevated themselves into starting roles and got new money. But remember, both of those guys were traded for.
Yeah.
They weren't just bidded free agents. Nick Foles, every deal he signed was a mistake, and he signed multiple big deals. Kevin Cobb had a horrendous 2-year run in that same situation. Justin Fields, good God, if that's the framework of the contract. And Justin Fields has 3 times more starts and 3 times more playing time than what Malik Willis had. Like, it's not, and he got $30 million in guaranteed money. But keep in mind, he has 3 times more playing time and experience and touchdowns and yards thrown for and yards run for than Malik Willis. Why am I paying the same price for Justin Fields as I would pay, same price for Malik Willis as I paid for Justin Fields, when Justin Fields was a far superior player, not good, but showed me a lot more, and sample size was much bigger. So that's where I sit on the whole Malik Willis situation. But
I think that's well said. Well, we'll talk more Miami Dolphins when we come back. We'll wrap up the 8 o'clock hour of the Joe Rose Show. Dono and Omar in for Joe on FM 104.3 WQAM.
Anyway, hey, right now I want to talk to you about Recovery Unplugged. Well, I'll tell you what, 25 times on my roller coaster of a life that I've talked about here, but
Don't miss a thing.
Back here on the Joe Rose Show, Alex Dono, Omar Kelly in for Joe. We got our guy Trevor here in for Hollywood. So Omar, I think this probably doesn't bother Dolphin fans. It probably makes some Dolphin fans feel good about the future of their NFL draft picks. But I was checking on the odds for all 32 teams, the odds for winning the Super Bowl next year. The Dolphins sit tied for dead last in odds to win the Super Bowl. Dead last, the Miami Dolphins and the Arizona Cardinals with plus 20,000 odds to win the Super Bowl. The best odds go to, it's a tie between the defending champ Seahawks and the Los Angeles Rams at plus 950, Buffalo Bills at plus 1,100 in third. You got to go all the way to the bottom to find the Miami Dolphins. And maybe that's what Dolphin fans want just for next year.
Where's Cleveland in that list? Because I could tell you, Cleveland.
Yeah, let me see.
Worse situation than both. Yeah, I think Miami and Arizona get to the bottom, are placed in the bottom of that list because
Cleveland is close to the bottom. So Cleveland is like fifth from the bottom at plus 15,000. They're right after Carolina, right before the Jets, and then the Raiders, the Dolphins, and the Cardinals. So Cleveland's near the bottom too.
Absolutely, and this is all based on quarterbacks. I bet you all 8 of the bottom teams at the bottom are the teams with bad or unstable quarterback situations. Atlanta, Arizona, Miami, Indianapolis, Browns, Raiders, Jets, Steelers, Minnesota, Tampa Bay. And while some of those teams do have quarterbacks, they're going to force quarterbacks are going to force situations on them, like Baker Mayfield. He's entering the final year of his contract. A player of his stature does not play on the final year of their contract. That's when they shake a team down, especially when you're about to have maybe a regime change with Todd Bowles. You double down and you pay me, or you get me up out of here and trade me to somebody who wants me and will give me the massive contract that I want. So if the Dolphins have interest in Baker Mayfield, you can make it happen. You can get it done. Question is would it be worth it for you? And I don't know the answer. Chris Perkins talked about Kirk Cousins. And while I have been a Kirk Cousins fan throughout my career, I will acknowledge to you Kirk Cousins hasn't done anything and won anything in this league.
Nope.
So, what exactly where are you going with that? Indianapolis, Daniel Jones is coming back from that Achilles injury. Man, that guy, he was MVP conversation early.
He was going crazy out of nowhere. Like I remember when the Dolphins opened against them, I'm like, hey, we've got a shot. We're going up against Daniel Jones, and we lost. We got mercy ruled in that game. It was so bad.
Yeah, he really did well up until he got hurt at the end of the season, and that team did well. Will Indianapolis want to run it back again, or will they go another route and go get a Kirk Cousins? Maybe trade for Tua Tagovailoa. I think the stability that they have, if they really pour into their stability, they would find a quarterback who can run their scheme and run it the way that Daniel Jones, and I'd re-sign Daniel Jones if I were them, because maybe at midseason he can come out and he can give you a good half a year. But that's an interesting situation. Arizona with Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray's probably going to be released, traded. Same thing with Geno Smith. Where are those two? Those two are proven starters in the NFL. Where do they go? If you're a Dolphin fan, do you have an interest in Geno Smith? Do you have an interest in Kyler Murray? It's better than Malik Willis.
Yeah, he probably is.
It's not a good spot to be in, but let's be real about it. We've been in this spot for the last 20 years.
Oh, I live in this spot. I feel like Bane in the Batman movie. You've merely adopted the dark. I was born in it, molded by it. I've been in this spot for a long time. Now, shifting gears over to Miami Hurricanes in the NFL draft, Omar. Miami, they're going to at least have 2 first-round picks, possibly 3, because Akeem Mesidor, he's older. That's the thing with Mesidor. He's like 25.
He's older. He's got medical red flags. Here's how I
Okay.
rationalize it, Dono.
Okay.
It's like red flags when you're dating. The more you pile up, the lower the rounds got to go. Akeem Mesidor got two very big red flags.
Yeah.
Medical history.
I like to look for value in dating and in the draft. If you
you're you're
value oriented guy.
No. I didn't say he's not going to be great value. I would definitely. I'm a huge fan. I went and saw him train at Pete Bomarito's. Like the young man. He's a little bit smaller than I thought he was, by the way.
Yeah, he's not that big. It's funny. I think part of it is by design, because I remember, when I saw him in person a couple times this season, he intentionally got smaller, I think, to become more of a speed rusher, because the year before he was playing some tackle and defensive end, and he was like a little oversized as a pass rusher. So I think he very deliberately, got on a diet for those reasons. But I understand, he does have an injury history. There's no question about it. And he is, he's in his mid-20s, which is not, it's not like a Ruben Bain who's 21 years old. And are you thinking top 5, or top 10 at worst for Bain?
Top 10.
Yeah.
I would definitely run to the podium. Not a player that I would trade up for, but Ruben Bain is going to be a solid, stable NFL pro for years to come. Is he going to be a defensive player of the year candidate? Probably not. I'm not even sure he's very scheme diverse, but he's a hell of a player, and he's somebody you definitely want to build around.
Yeah, I mean, I could say he's a much better run stopper than people realize if they don't have like a deep dive on what he can do. And also, in terms of his pass rushing, and we'll see how much of it translates to the NFL. I'd best describe him as a force of nature is kind of the way he rushes the passer, that he's so strong and so explosive. So that's the kind of way I look at Bain. And then Francis Mauigoa, Omar, I know teams are going to he's still going to be a first rounder regardless. Some teams will probably prefer him at guard versus projecting him at tackle. But that dude,
a good right tackle, man.
He's a very good right tackle. 0 injury history. The guy is built like a tank. Has never had injury trouble whatsoever, and 3 full years of not missing a single start at Miami. 17 starts, 13 starts, 13 starts. So, I mean, you talk about a guy who's NFL ready. Mauigoa is.
Yeah, he reminds me of Penei Sewell. I think he's definitely going to be a top 15 selection. If he's on the board when the Dolphins select, I'm running up to that board. Now, the knock on him is he's right tackle only. He's right tackle only. Maybe he can go into guard. I really don't think he's a good guard. And if somebody can play right tackle, why would you push them inside the guard?
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Just my thought process. Very talented player, as are a lot of the Hurricanes. I like their safety. I like their cornerback. That's about it, really. Like safety and cornerback.
Keontae Scott, the corner, and Jacoby Thomas, the safety. Both of them. I mean, probably day 2 picks for those guys.
Nah, probably day 3.
Even for Keontae, I think Keontae Scott's going to be a day 2 guy. I feel pretty strongly about that. I'm not sure about Jacoby Thomas, but I think Keontae Scott will go in the 3rd round at worst.
We'll see. I haven't poured over the film. One, safeties don't get drafted first round generally. Ohio State's and whenever you see a safety get drafted high, usually turns out to be a mistake. But cornerbacks, they do get overdrafted and they do go higher than you would expect. We'll see if there's enough film of consistency for him. I mean, kind of 1 season.
Yeah.
I would love a cornerback to have a bigger body of work, but hey, listen, this is about talent evaluation, and pick the guy that you love. That's pretty much how I look at it. Pick the guy that you love, because in the end result, It's about developing the players that you love and turning them into NFL starters, if not stars. Yeah, there's no excuse for the failures that we've seen the last decade. Go and find 7, 8 players that you love in this draft. End of story. Figure it out. It happens for the Rams. It happens for the Steelers. It happens for the Ravens. It happens for Seattle. Happens for, a number of teams. This organization has by far missed way too many draft picks.
Yeah, we can agree on that. 9 o'clock hour is coming up. We'll talk a lot more NFL football in the 9 a.m. hour. Want to talk some Olympics as well, because honestly, nothing is better than a curling cheating controversy. And it's from the country you would least expect. I mean, you're telling me somebody's cheating in the Olympics. I'd say, is it the Russians, even though they're barred from competition? But it's not the country I would have expected. You want to keep it right here. Joe Rose Show on FM 104.3 WQAM.
The daily topics on WQAM are sponsored.
Be living under a rock not to know. What'd you say your name?
Can't believe you never heard of me. I'm a very popular entertainer.
Oh, of course I've heard of you. I mean, you'd have to be living under a rock not to know. What'd you say your name was?
Michael Jackson.
Doesn't ring a bell.
Well, have you heard of MTV?
Nope.
Motown.
No.
Beat It.
You beat it.
Thriller.
What was that last one?
Thriller.
Nope.
Well,
our lowest price. Visit us at Doral Volkswagen or at DoralVolkswagen.com. It was a great weekend for Miami Hurricane sports. Canes men's basketball team likely secured a spot in the NCAA tournament with a come-from-behind 77-76 win on Saturday on the road at NC State. Miami finished the game with an 8-0 run over the final 52 seconds, including 3 clutch free throws from True Washington. Canes baseball, meanwhile, completed an opening weekend sweep over Lehigh, taking the finale 27-3 on Sunday. In that game, they set a program record for most runs in a single inning, with 15 scored in the 5th. NBA All-Star Weekend is now in the rear view. Miami Heat's Keyshawn Johnson won the dunk contest on Saturday night. The Heat will return to action this Friday on the road in Atlanta. And the Olympics continue from Milan and Cortina. Team USA sitting 3rd in the overall medal count with 17 behind Norway and Italy. The Joe Rose Show is coming your way next here on FM 104.3 WQAM. Back here on the Joe Rose Show, Dono and Omar Kelly in for Joe today. You know, I don't know who at NBC is behind the big curling lobby, but it seems like it's always on TV. And it's like, I never turn on the Olympic coverage intending to watch curling. And then, Omar, I always find myself getting into it, even though I only understand like 70% of what's going on. Like, I don't understand the strategy. I just understand you want your rocks to be closer to the bullseye. And, you know, I listen to the commentators and stuff. But the thing that really got me juiced about curling over the weekend is you've probably seen the spats that the Canadian curler is having with the Swedish curler over the Canadians. And it's, again, I didn't understand that this was even a rule before Friday, but apparently you're not allowed to double touch the rock. Like, you hold the handle, you release the rock, and then you can't like poke it with your finger. And this Canadian cheater was poking it with his finger, and the Swedes, they set up a sting operation where they had Swedish television, had their own strategically placed camera angle right by the line that you cross. It's kind of wild to me that the actual Olympic cameras don't have a camera angle at that spot, because you'd think you want to catch people for cheating, right? That's the most common area you could cheat. It seems like the Olympics don't want to know if people are cheating at curling or not. So you had the Swedish curlers accusing this Canadian guy who was very angry. He was dropping F-bombs, the whole thing. They were accusing this Canadian curler of cheating, and they have it on camera. The Canadian curler is saying, hey, not only did I not cheat, but you guys illegally filmed me because you had a camera where a camera is not supposed to be.
But did he cheat?
But he was cheating. It's like, I'm cheating, but how dare you illegally set up a camera to catch me cheating? Like, that was his issue. Like, how dare you put a camera where it's not supposed to be to catch me?
You caught red-handed, brother. Just let it go. Like,
yeah.
I mean, but who do they turn that camera footage into? And is it like?
Well, you know, I don't know. I saw it on Twitter, and it did not appear to be AI or in anything like that. So yeah, I'm sure. I think they turned it into the Olympic authorities, I would think.
Can you believe anything you see on Twitter anymore?
That's a good point.
I'm getting to the point I can't believe anything I see on a dating app. Like, AI is too good right about now.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's everybody's catfishing you on information and videos. And I saw a picture of Barack Obama and Michelle Obama, an elevator picture. Looked too real, but it wasn't.
Oh,
yeah, like, it's just, you can't trust it anymore. And now they got video. They got AI fake video where you can create a persona. You can make it look like you, but 60 pounds lighter. Don't ask me how I know. And use your same voice and literally create an image of yourself, and you can use it to do posts. And you can use AI to put out Dono videos, and it can look just like you and have a podcast background.
Yeah, I've actually seen somebody's actually done that. And then my question was, like, how much spare time do you have that you're making a Dono AI video? Like, I figured
somebody made a Dono AI video.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, that's dangerous. Yeah. In fact, Manny, who most of us know here, he put up on Twitter a picture of us, and
Three of
it's
us.
not of us.
Yeah.
It was kind of weird. Looked kind of like me, but I know it's not me.
Yeah, it looked kind of like me as well. I'm like, I don't remember posing for that picture.
Yeah. See, now it's a dangerous world out here, Dono.
Yeah.
Especially be thankful you're married, because even on these dating apps, it's dangerous out here, my brother.
And I want to ask you a question about that, because I've been married for 14 years. We didn't meet on an app, so I've never been on a dating app before. So explain to me, like, and I figure you're probably pretty honest on the dating app.
Absolutely.
But like, okay, when you find a possible companion on the dating app and she has doctored her photo to look 60 pounds lighter, like, yes, what does this person expect is going to happen when you meet in person? Like, why would you lie when the jig is going to be up? Like, as soon as they meet you in person, they're going to know. Like, why do you lie?
Filters, my brother. Filters.
No, it's not even filters. It's AI now. You can use AI, and not only can you create pictures, but you can create video. Women are using AI to do pictures. It's literally their face, somebody else's body, and they think it looks like them.
Oh, so that's what it is. It's like denial. Like they think, I can pull this off.
Absolute delusion. And was it last week? No, it was the week before. Went out, really liked a young lady. I'm telling you my business now, Dono. So don't.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm not going to tell anybody. Don't worry.
Got to know a young lady.
It's on a flamethrower right now, so everyone's getting this story.
Got to know a young lady. Literally, I'm a very early FaceTime. Like, we got a FaceTime. Now I'm gonna have to be like, FaceTime, can you take 5 steps back, turn around? FaceTime, beautiful girl, seemed like beautiful girl, sent me 20 pictures of her, because I'm like, you're kind of too good to be true. Beautiful girl, 20 pictures. Got to know her well, finally met up for the date. Was not the girl.
I'm so sorry.
Like
not even remotely her, or just really doctored?
It could not have been her in the pictures. It was her face. It was her face.
Yeah.
Definitely not her body.
So it was a legit catfish then.
Yes, legit catfish.
Complete false advertising.
Complete false advertising.
Wow.
Face, body, 80 pounds and 10 years ago.
Oh, no.
And Dono, it happens. It's dangerous out here. You gotta I don't waste a lot of time if I'm not FaceTiming very early. And now I gotta realize we gotta back this up. We gotta put the phone somewhere and back it up. So it's dangerous out here, Dono. It's very dangerous out here. AI has
Brady Quinn, man.
AI has ruined the game for men. I'm sorry, because I don't think men are using AI on dating apps.
I don't think so. I mean, 95% of us are too lazy to use AI for that. I mean, come on.
I mean, and that's what I don't understand. I think it's more a level of delusion to these individuals, because when you show up and you don't look like you're supposed to look.
Yeah, and that was my question. It's like, what do they expect is going to happen? But maybe you're right. There's so much delusion, they don't know.
It's either that or people just starving for attention. I honestly believe a lot of women use dating apps and social media just for attention. I mean, it's it's cool, especially when you're a pretty girl. Maybe you use AI to doctor yourself up a little bit.
Yeah.
To have 50 guys like you a day, 50 guys shoot their shot a day. Great for the ego. And the unfortunate part is eventually that guy's going to want to meet up with you. But I hear it happens on the other side too. I hear guys do it too. I can't speak based on my experience because I don't date guys. So it's rough out here. It's just rough out here.
The streets aren't safe anymore, Omar Kelly.
No, the streets aren't safe anymore. Not at all. Absolutely not.
I respect that. I mean,
You,
listen,
you gotta go back and get your food in the wild now. Can't even shop for it like Uber Eats.
Thankfully, I'm not on those dating app streets. The only time I've ever been catfished was when the Dolphins drafted Tua Tagovailoa. That was my that was the extent of my experience being catfished.
Hey, you had
a
good 3-year run, sir.
Yeah, I did, and then the arm died. All right, we'll continue. Joe Rose Show. We take you till 10 o'clock today on this President's Day. Alex Dono and Omar Kelly in on FM 104.3 WQAM.
Hey, I want to tell you about a man named Chef. Yeah, I'm talking about the CEO of Loctite
On FM 104.3 or on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps.
Wow, that was so easy.
All of our shows are there live or on demand. Plus, there's the cool rewind feature where you can listen to any part of any show you might have missed. Anytime.
Welcome back into the Joe Rose Show. Alex Dono, Omar Kelly. We got Trevor Harris with us. We're going to hear later this hour from Chris Perkins, Miami Dolphins columnist from the South Florida Sun-Sentinel. We'll talk about just a super important offseason. You know, Omar, I don't think we can emphasize that enough after what was a failed rebuild. I mean, the Dolphins had themselves a rebuild that got them a couple of playoff appearances and 0 playoff wins. You outlined earlier on this show how quickly a team like New England was able to rebuild, Denver, Green Bay, and yet it seems to take the Dolphins 25 years to rebuild. I mean, what has to happen, Omar, for this rebuild with Sullivan and Halfley and company, for this one to be successful, while the Chris Greer and the various coaches that coached under Greer, while those rebuilds failed?
I think they've got to find a top 10 quarterback within the next 3 years. We got to start there, whether it be free agency, trade, draft. I really don't care, but you got to find a guy that can make plays in critical moments and win you tough games. I do believe in what Chris Perkins said in terms of you got to build in the trenches. Good football teams are built inside out. The Miami Dolphins were oddly enough built outside in, which was kind of irresponsible, but c'est la vie. You live and you learn. On top of that, they got to get their financial books in order. It's a hot mess right now. Will be a hot mess for a little while. Probably the best thing that they can do this season is to take all of the to a cap hit this one season, and you would be better off long term. But I understand why they wouldn't. But you definitely also the most important thing is you got to hit on way more draft picks than you have in the past couple of years. I did a study last year during the season. Not last year, it was the year before. During the 2024 season, when I was making a weekly campaign for Chris Greer to be fired, it was a study of draft histories and teams. And the good teams had a 55% success rate in terms of draft picks they retained, developed. Didn't say they were good, but they're still on your roster, 55%. The good teams.
Yeah.
The okay teams had a 45% hit ratio. And when I say hit, I mean actually just still on your roster, playing some role on your team, on your roster, not your practice squad, on your roster. The Miami Dolphins were at 35%.
Ugh.
And when you add that up over a period of a decade, you're missing on 10% more of your draft picks than everybody else. It becomes such a nightmare to build a roster. And now we're seeing the end results of this. Name me the Dolphins wide receiver that's worth developing. Young wide receiver that's worth developing. There really isn't one unless you consider Malik Washington.
Yeah. That'd be the name I would say, but I'm not going to say it with my chest.
Yeah, no. I mean, no disrespect to Malik Washington, but would any of the 32 teams in the NFL be banging the table for him to be a starter?
No.
I don't think so. Tight ends, cupboard's empty. Nothing there. You got running back. You've got a decent stable. But Devon Achane you're in a situation now where you either give him a $30 million guarantee, 50-year, $30 million guaranteed, or you're gonna have problems with him this offseason and this future, in the upcoming future, and he's probably gonna demand to get traded. It's not like this people are banging down the door to be here or stay here right now.
Nope.
Defensively, can you absolutely say with conviction and certainty that Chop Robinson will be anything in the NFL?
I wish I could, but not with certainty.
And if you cut Bradley Chubb, Chop Robinson's literally the only proven pass rusher you have, and you kind of need 4. That's years of mismanagement and bad business. You go to cornerback, coverage bare again. You go to safety, coverage bare again. You go to offensive line. You just drafted in the second round the worst offensive guard in the NFL, like worst starting offensive guard in the NFL. And if you were smart, you'd say, okay, pivot from that and be like, yeah, we need to draft another one. And you hopefully will, but you can't sit here and project Jonas Savonai as a starter in the NFL again. Like, no, you just watch what you watch. You can't unsee that.
I wish I could unsee it, but I can't.
Yeah. They've just missed on far too many draft picks for you to sit here and think that this is a healthy roster, because it's not. It's like,
I like this comment. Please tell us about dating apps. We're getting sad talking Dolphins.
Hinge is my favorite.
Oh, really? I've never even heard of that. Hinge.
Yeah,
I think the only one that I've heard of is Tinder, obviously.
That's for the
and I don't know. Do people still use eHarmony? Is that still a thing? No, I'm dating myself with that.
Bumble's another one, by the way.
Love AOL. You're familiar with
that? AOL Instant Messenger. That was my jam back in the day.
Yeah, yeah. Bumble is the.
I've heard of that one as well. Yeah.
I mean, it's all the same thing. It's
MySpace. Do people still go on there?
No. But there is a Facebook dating app. I would never be
really.
On. Yes. Wow. Oh, wow. You're shaking your hands. No,
I've been told horror stories about it. By the way, my buddy used it once in Jersey. Bad time.
Serial killers, like they try to meet up with you to. Like Craig wasn't that a thing on Craigslist? That was like the original dating app. Was you could buy a microwave or you could meet for a date.
Are you sure it was a dating app?
I mean, not intentionally.
The ladies of the night went to Craigslist.
Well, I mean, some of us consider that dating, you know.
And now they're on OnlyFans. So
Fansley.
We've graduated. We've morphed up into OnlyFans.
Yeah. We get this comment from XRP Plumbing, who says Stephen Ross says he wants to keep the Dolphins in the family. He says when he stated that, all I saw was disaster. It's time for us to boycott the Dolphins completely. I mean, first of all, you don't know the son-in-law and the daughter. You don't necessarily know that they run it the same way.
Daughters, plural. Daughters.
I
got in trouble. I got a nice.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah. I didn't know. So there's multiple, but there's also a son-in-law who's involved, right?
Yes, but that franchise will be handed down to the daughters too.
Okay, all right.
And son-in-law will be involved, but you have to be approved to get a franchise. So it'll be in the family, but the daughters are the heirs.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, they may know more about the draft than Steven does. I mean, how do we know? They might do a fantastic job.
You know what? It's funny you say that, because I actually believe that if Stephen Ross was drafted, the Dolphins would probably have a better history.
Yeah, I think you're probably right about that, because we've heard stories about who he wanted versus who Chris Greer wanted.
Not to say that, and it's not his nature to become that type of owner, but I did love one thing that Jeff Hafley, Mike Hafley said.
Jeff Hafley said. I don't know why I want to call him Mike Hafley.
No, it wasn't Jeff Hafley. It was John Eric Sullivan.
Yeah.
He basically said, Steve told me when he was hiring me, if I failed, it wasn't going to be because of lack of resources.
Yeah, so and I believe it.
I need to get the job done. And I was like, yeah, pretty much. That's, it's like the Hurricanes now. You expect them to be contenders every year because they're going to pay big money for a quarterback.
Allegedly, yeah, but certainly, yeah. I mean,
Allegedly,
I don't know.
They've done it for the last 3 years.
No, I know they have. It's just I don't know. Like people report like just whatever numbers they want to on how much they're paying Darian Mensah.
Yeah,
Carson
all
Beck,
of the numbers are lies. I heard Carson Beck's number was not real.
Well, actually, the ironic thing, Darian Mensah last year at Duke was making more money than Carson Beck was at Miami. People didn't realize that. It's true. It's 100% true. Well, we'll talk more Miami Dolphins. We'll be joined by South Florida Sun Sentinel Dolphins columnist Chris Perkins when we come back. You want to keep it right here on FM 104.3 WQAM.
Anyway, hey, right now I want to talk to you about Recovery Unplugged.